Apologize for being late. Good afternoon.
Do you have any?
What do you? The cat's got your tongue?
Do you have any updates on injuries that, can you expect anybody back this week?
Good question. Good question. Everybody is trending in the right direction. I'm optimistic. Lane obviously is going to be, a day-to-day thing. Yeah, he is getting better. Don't expect him, to do a whole lot, today, tomorrow, Wednesday, right now. We'll see where he's at later in the week. Nelly's in the same situation. Jordan's in the same situation. So really no change or no anything further with them. Who else? Barnett's is doing better. Would expect him to do something later in the week. See where he's at, get him on land, and get him going. So everybody's getting there. It's a slow process, but they're healing.
The importance of the game. Do you expect that if it's close, that these guys are going to try to play?
Yeah, bottom line is I'm not going to risk further injury with anybody for a game. But if they're capable of playing in this football game, then we'll make that determination later in the week.
Did Darby get hurt during the game? Is it like it didn't seem like he played much after?
Yeah, he showed up on the injury report, and he's got some lower body right now. With him, that he should be fine. With it. It's just going to take a couple days here to rest and get him back on the practice field.
In Camus' case, his snaps were down. Was that related to the concussion, or was it performance related?
No, I think the structure of the offense, and then also TJ Edwards has been playing well too when he's getting some opportunities. So there's a little bit of that, So keeping all those guys as fresh as possible. Plus they're all playing special teams, so just keeping everybody as fresh as we can.
He had been playing a lot of snaps up until
Camus. Yeah. TJ's been doing really well. Obviously Nate's been doing well. We're getting Nigel back, here the last couple games. So there's 3-4 guys there that have been playing more snaps.
Why do you think it? You guys have known about Greg Ward for a few years. Why do you think it took him this long to break through the way he has and kind of become such a productive player in the NFL?
Well, I think on the inside, we know the type of player that Greg Ward is, and because we've seen it, day in, day out. This is it's a little bit of a tricky situation because as you're trying to construct your roster for each game, he was on practice squad to start the year, and you're trying to maybe, is this the week that we can get him up? And then there might be an injury in the game that we have to make a move and bring somebody else in a spot, whether it be maybe on the defensive side or the offensive side, whatever it is, and it just didn't work out until, here in the last 3-4 games. So we're excited that obviously had a chance to bring him up. We know the type of player he is, and he's proven that on the field.
Doug, you had success on third down yesterday. You had 16 of them.
Too many.
Yeah. What do you guys need to do first and second down to kind of cut those down?
A couple of them were due to some penalties that backed us up, and so Gabe put us into some third down situations there, some third and long situations. But we had a couple of negative rush plays on first down, a couple of screens that went for a negative or no gain. Those are the types of things that kind of set you up for a 3rd and 3, 4, 5, maybe even a 3rd and 2. So we got to do a little bit better there from execution standpoint on first down. Try to stay ahead of the chains that way, but it's not a major thing that we were focused on. We did overcome some of those penalties in the game yesterday, and thought that our third down rushing yesterday was probably the best we've had all season too.
As a play caller,
It's come down to the last 2 drives for you guys, really, in the last 2 weeks. I know you guys probably wish you would have been able to put it away earlier, but what can be said for the way that you guys have won the last 2 weeks, knowing what's coming this Sunday with the Cowboys divisional?
I just think it just shows that each week you got to play for 60 minutes, and you play the game within the game, and there's going to be highs and lows, and then obviously for us as an offense, it's great to see the fact that they put it on their back and they go down and have a chance to win the game, and then credit the defense. We fumble the ball. The offense fumbles the ball, and we only hold them to 3 points at that point too. So you don't ever hope that it gets to that point, during the game, but I think the guys understand that, hey, it does take 60 minutes, and quite frankly, when we got the ball back at the end of the game there, I think everybody knew that we were going to go down and score and win the football game at that point. So it's a credit to the guys. They stay in the moment. Nothing's too big for them. They overcome a lot of adversity. A lot of it's self-inflicted, obviously, and they overcome it and have given themselves a chance to win and have done that in the last 2 weeks.
Wentz has come up with two of his best performances, certainly two of his most clutch performances over the last 2 weeks without several of his primary targets. What does that say about his development? What does that say to you where he is?
He's doing some really nice things for us, and he's one of the things that I might have mentioned it after the game or maybe this morning on the radio is just that he's understanding the offense and where everybody is and spreading the ball around. Of course our running attack has helped that. The screen game has helped that. And that just comes from me calling more of those plays for him and helping him be successful there. But, he's just he's maturing that way, and it's really good to see. He's understanding the game, and it takes time. This is with young quarterbacks and young players in this league, it takes time. And that's where he's headed, and it's really has been good to see the last couple of weeks, especially the overtime, win there with New York, and then this week to really put the team on his shoulders and say, hey, let's go win the game.
As a follow-up to that, Doug, do you find yourself as a play caller trying to be or forced to be more creative or different when personnel's limited?
No. I just call what's on our sheet and what we work on during the week and how we put our guys in position. I mean, we had 7 different personnel groups yesterday in that game, so we were moving people around in different combinations of guys and ended up using all of them. And that's this time of year. The thing is, you got so much tape out there, and coaches and teams are going to study your tendencies and your personnel, and they're going to have a beat on you. So you have to be a little creative and move some guys around and use different personnel groups and use the strengths of each player too to your advantage. And that's what we've been able to do the last couple of weeks. It's helped us.
That was the greatest, the biggest variation in personnel groups we've seen from you this year. Do you sort of relish that opportunity to get creative? What is the the Monday, Tuesday game planning process?
I think it's
like?
a fine line on how much you want to be creative, especially with some young players on offense. You don't want to get so creative that you're putting too much in, and then it becomes a mental block for a lot of these guys. But at the same time, we know that we have to do some things to take advantage of our strengths on offense and put people in position. So we find that's what these first couple of days of the week are for, is to put that together.
Doug, you haven't had a lot of success recently against the Cowboys.
Thank you.
How much does that gnaw at you? How much does that gnaw at you, the Cowboys, and how is that going to make this game that much more fun?
Listen, we just they got us the last time, and they kicked our tail, and they had a great game plan, and we just gotta come prepared each day this week. And study the tape. Coaches have got to have a great game plan, obviously, and they've got our players have got to understand the game plan, how we're trying to either attack or defend the Cowboys and then go play. And we're here at week 16, and again, like I said, there's a lot of tape out there. Another division opponent. There's probably a little more obviously on the line this week than most weeks, but it's where we are right now, and we've dug this hole, but we're slowly climbing out of it, and we're excited for the opportunity.
With the personnel packages, getting back to that, I mean, there was just it seemed like there was more of a limited scope yesterday. There wasn't a lot of targets for some of the other guys, including some guys that caught passes last week. Can you continue to win that way, or do you think you have to kind of expand that and get more guys involved?
Well, the easy answer would be to expand that.
Oh, okay. And will you?
Yes.
Carson has the second most fumbles in the NFL, 14 right now. What are you teaching him at this point? What does he have to do in order to clean that up? Obviously, hitting some critical balls.
Yeah, it was unfortunate. I think we put the ball as an offense on the ground 4 times yesterday, and that's unacceptable. Whether it's the quarterback or receivers, whoever it might be, running back. So we have to do a better job. Players have to understand the importance of the football. It's obviously the most prized possession during a game. We got to protect it, and he understands that. And we're going to continue to talk and listen. You hate to beat the dead horse, but sometimes you have to, and keep pounding the point home, and we're just fortunate we were able to overcome putting the ball on the ground as many times as we did. We had a snap on the ground yesterday, and Boston put it on the ground one time. I mean, Carson there the one time. So we were just fortunate to overcome that.
When you watch the coach's film of a play like Carson made on the throw to Miles Sanders in the back of the end zone, how do you watch that and evaluate it as you're watching?
Well, I saw it live, and I had a great view right down the sideline from where I was standing, and it was one of the most impressive throws I've seen. Honestly, in my career, either as a player or a coach. I mean, it was just an impressive throw. Impressive, probably more so the catch, obviously, where Miles was, and there were, I believe, 3 Redskins and an Eagle all lined up in a straight line, basically between Carson and Miles, and just a tremendous play by both of those guys, by Carson to extend the play. Just unbelievable, unbelievable play in that game, and one that we needed.
How much does it help, with all the adversity you guys have gone through the last couple games, especially having to win at the end, like, young guys like, Boston and Greg and, guys who hadn't played, to be on the field and go through all that heading into a game like against Dallas?
One of the things, they might be young by age or experience in this league, but they don't consider themselves young, and that's a positive. They consider themselves as veterans, and they've been in a lot of games here, and a lot of big games here down the stretch, and nothing seems too big, for these guys right now. And you've seen Miles and his progression throughout the course of the season, and how he's getting better, and how Boston is getting better, and Greg has just made his impact here in the last couple of weeks. So, like I said, they might be young, but they don't feel young. They don't want to consider themselves as young. They're veteran players, and that's a credit to them. And nothing's too big for them right now.
Doug, is there a developing relationship or developed relationship between Carson and Miles that maybe we don't get to see until game day that you see in practice? And what does that mean, if that's so? What does that mean for the future of this franchise when you have a young running back and a young quarterback who can kind of grow together? And you've seen that, what that means in the past for other.
No, I mean it's encouraging. Obviously not only for the remainder of this season, for I think the future and the near future. But that's what you got to have. You got to have, to be successful, and the teams that are successful in this league and can sustain that success. I think quarterbacks, running backs, and receivers, and in our case tight ends, having that nucleus of guys around the quarterback you can sustain that success, I believe. And I saw it in Green Bay, when we had, back-to-back NFC championship games and 2 Super Bowls back-to-back. And, you just look at the history of the league, and it seems like those core guys are together a lot. And we just hope that, as we grow with Carson and Miles, that we just continue to add pieces to that. Yeah.
Did you see this potential in
I mean,
training camp?
you saw the potential, you saw the talent, obviously, but this is it's I don't want to say it's a surprise, but it's just encouraging to see the success that Miles has had, because really when you go back a few weeks when Jordan was in there, you didn't see Miles, right, as much, or making some of the plays that he's making now. And now that he's kind of been the guy, you're seeing more and more of him, and his versatility, both running and catching the football, has made an impact and really helped us win these last couple of games.
Thanks, Doug.
Okay, thanks, guys.